Hello, my name is Sarah Ferguson, and today I'm going to be talking about Diana Gabaldon's book Outlander. And I'm going to do a review of it, and then I'm also going to do a discussion part of this book. The review part of it will be spoiler free, and then the discussion part will have some spoilers in it as well. So a lot of people may have heard of Outlander already. The books have been around for a while now. They started getting published in the 90s. But to do a quick plot summary, after separation by their work in World War II, British Army nurse Claire Randall and her husband Frank, a history professor, go on a second honeymoon to Scotland to just kind of get used to each other again. And then while Claire had a hobby of going and looking at plants, so while she was investigating plants at the stone circle called Craignadoon, she somehow gets transported back in time 200 years, and the only way that she has to survive is her own wits and her knowledge of the future. A lot of people call this book a historical fiction type of book and also a romance book, and those are actually the two genres that I don't like the most. And so I really didn't think that I would like this book at all. But the reason that I decided to actually get into it is because I saw the show Outlander, and I really, like, the character of Claire really appealed to me, and I decided I would give this book a chance. And I'm really glad that I did, because even though this book is characterized as a romance novel, it isn't really about like one woman going around and trying to find her perfect husband. It actually goes and reverses a lot of the tropes that you would normally find in a romance book. For instance, at the very beginning of the book, Claire is already married, so she's not looking for a husband at all, and she's trying to like make a better marriage. But along the way, things happen, and she has to go and try to find somebody else. I don't want to go too much into it because of the plot spoilers, but I did find a really cool article on Salon.com that talks about how this book goes and reverses the norms that you would normally find in romance literature. So I'll just put a link to that in the description box underneath. So the main characters in this book are Claire, and she's a really interesting character because she has a lot of experience. She grew up with an archaeologist, so she learned a lot about living with other cultures, and that really helped her when she went back in time. And she's also has a lot of experience with being a nurse in World War II, so she's able to go and see blood and help people who are injured and make effective cures for them, even back 200 years ago when she doesn't have all the things that she's normally used to having, like sterile bandages, for instance. She's also a really strong-willed character, and she'll say her mind, and she doesn't put up with other people's BS, which is something that I found really appealing. Jamie Fraser is a Scottish Highlander that she meets there, and he's just one of those characters that the more you get to know him, the more you really like him. I really enjoyed learning more about his secrets as I continued to read the novel, and he's intelligent and open-minded and empathetic towards others. The main villain of this book is Blackjack Randall, and I think that Blackjack is actually very complicated for a villainous character, and definitely get to know more about him throughout the book as well. So to conclude my review portion of the book, I would rate this book 3.5 stars out of 5. To get into the discussion portion of this, I really enjoyed about the story was Claire and Jamie's love story. It wasn't a typical love story at all. So it wasn't just, and a lot of love stories suffer from this trope where the two main characters see each other and then they instantly fall in love with each other just because they're so handsome. And yes, Claire and Jamie are both very good-looking people, but they end up falling for each other for a lot more than just because they find each other attractive. Claire sees this other kid who's going to get a very graphic punishment for stealing something, and she wants to try to lessen that punishment, and Jamie goes and helps her with that too. So you see him constantly doing things that almost are self-sacrificing for himself in order to help others. He's also a little bit more intelligent than the average Scotsman because he's traveled around, he can speak French. And one of the other things I really enjoyed about this novel is that even though they have to get married to each other in order to survive, in time nobody really knows who she is. Everybody thinks she's a spy for the other side, so in order to survive with the Scottish Highlanders, she has to marry one of them to prove that she's one of them and not going to spy on them. And they choose for her to get married to Jamie. When Jamie and Claire marry each other, they do decide that they're going to be honest with each other no matter what, even though at the same time acknowledging that they have secrets that they're not ready to tell each other yet. So I thought that was really an honest and interesting portrayal of a relationship there, too. So with the ending, and this is kind of a spoilerly thing, but a lot of people, some of my friends had issues with the ending not being super realistic. Basically what happens at the very end, Claire goes into the castle to rescue Jamie after he's been captured by English soldiers and ends up rescuing him, and in the process she also manages to like attack a wolf and like kill some British soldiers. So it does seem a little bit more action-packed than the rest of the book, and if you buy it and go along for the ride, it's a lot of fun. But if you're used to something that's more about the romance and not so much about action, then you would definitely find this part maybe not super realistic. Another issue that a lot of people had with this book was the portrayal of Black Jack Randall. In the book he is gay, and a lot of the negative aspects of his character seem to come from that. And that's obviously like a pretty tricky subject to talk about. I honestly think that Diana Gabaldon wasn't saying like, oh, because you're gay you're going to be morally corrupt. I think she thinks this particular character, because of the circumstances that he was put in through war and just through his society, he ended up becoming a morally corrupt person. But I actually think that there are characters later on in the books who are gay, who are shown in a positive light. I haven't read any of the other books in the series, but I have read some other short stories by her, and I believe that there were some of those more positive gay characters there. So I don't think that she's saying gay characters are villainous characters with Black Jack Randall. I'm just saying, in this particular instance, he is a villain and he is homosexual. So I think like really with his character, she's talking about how war can make a person change, not for the better. And I think she does have hints in the book about why he was changed. And I think that the character, he's very intelligent. Black Jack Randall is very intelligent, and he's aware that he's doing negative things, and he doesn't view it as a negative, like as a good thing even for himself, but he thinks that he has to act this way in order to survive. So he's doing it as an act of survival during wartime. And none of this is to say that what he did was right, that he should be doing it, but it's just a way of gaining deeper understanding of his character. Well, thanks for watching this video, and I hope you enjoyed it, and please subscribe and like for more cool book reviews. Bye!